All right, I want to thank all the members of the media for being here. Thank y'all for taking the time. I especially want to thank the family here. Um, this is Justin Turner's family that's here, and also many investigators, SLED agents, detectives, people that were involved in this case originally. I'll get to that later, but I wanted to report to the citizens of Berkeley County that yesterday, January 9th at 10 a.m., detectives from the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office was able to arrest and take into custody Victor Lee Turner and Pamela Turner, also known as Megan Turner. They were taken into custody at their home, which is located in Cross Hill, South Carolina, which is in Lawrence County. Lawrence County Sheriff's Office assisted us with the arrest. They have been transported back to the Berkeley County Jail. They are incarcerated at this time, and they are awaiting a bond hearing. The bond hearing is scheduled for 6:30 today, and we don't know what the outcome of that will be as of yet. So to recap a little bit, this is an amazing day. It's a day that a lot of people that have since left us have been waiting for, and a lot of people that are here today. 34 years ago, that's a long time. It's a long time. But if any of you remember, most of you do, Justin Turner was reported missing on March 3rd, 1989 at 3:12 p.m. from his home here in Berkeley County. Deputies arrived. James Gathers, first deputy on the scene, requested assistance and got help from other deputies and members of the rescue squad, DNR, SLED, fire departments, converged on the area searching for Justin. He's 5 years old at the time. Justin never made it to school that morning. He never got on the bus. He never arrived at school. That's because he had been murdered. And he'd been murdered by his stepmother and his father, and left in a camper behind their house. I can't think of a more tragic, horrendous murder. 5-year-old boy. As we looked at this case, and we've been working on this case for on and off for a year and a half straight, but on and off for many years. Many sheriffs before me. But I keep going back to Justin. Today, Justin would have been 40 years old. Could have graduated high school, went to college, got married, had a child, been a productive citizen. But he wasn't. Because we believe these two people took that away from all of us and this family, who I have been in contact with over the years. And they have been tremendous in their efforts to keep this case alive and keep pushing us and asking questions and helping us get where we are today. How did we get here? We got here because of some of the people in this room. Because of investigative work, the forensic work that SLED had done, the SLED agents, all the folks involved from the sheriff's office. It is a lot of people that helped put this case together over the years, and I want to thank them. And I'm going to mention their names here shortly. But so we know for a fact that Justin was strangled to death. There was ligature marks on his neck. We recovered what we believe to be the evidence of the murder. We have a lot of forensic evidence. We got here because of new technology in forensic medicine. We all know how things have progressed over the years. And we kept pushing and plugging and pulling to finally get what we needed to make an arrest. Detectives have worked I can't say enough about Detective Darrell Lewis and Detective John Plitt. They did an amazing job on this case. And again, a lot of work went into a lot of people. I want to thank SLED Agent Jim Barry, Sheriff L.C. Knight's here. He was the SLED agent also on the case. Lieutenant Randy Herod was one of the investigative initial deputies. James Gathers is here. He was the first officer deputy on the scene. Mr. Green is here, and we're glad to see him. Thanks for all your efforts. Lee Clayton was also on the scene. L.G. Fairclough, who couldn't be with us. Rita Schuler's here. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Tim Braun, I want to thank him from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, have also helped us. Captain Mike Prodan from SLED, the Behavioral Science Unit, helped us tremendously, worked with our detectives a lot on this case. So where do we go from here? So the case will be presented at some point, and we'll move forward. I have to say I'm hoping and I'm praying that Justin is looking down from heaven, rejoicing that today there's some justice. There's still some justice in this country. And I can't thank y'all enough for being here. I'll entertain some questions, and then a member of the family will also speak as well. So I'll entertain some questions. Yes?
Sheriff, you said that the reason why these arrests were ultimately made was due to forensic evidence. Can you provide us any additional detail on what specifically tied these two individuals to Justin's death?
Yes, and good point. I'm going to send out the affidavits that outlines everything for you. Everything's in there. But essentially a few things. I mean, we were able to narrow down the time of death with the contents from Justin's stomach that morning. Statements that were made during the initial interview, initial on-scene investigation, all of those things. But we were able to use some forensic testing that we had not had available to us before. And that enabled us to tie in the murder weapon that we believe was used to strangle Justin to clothing and fabric on his clothing at the time of his death. There's a lot of other things that account for it, but that's just a couple of things. Who's next?
When you say new technology, can you kind of elaborate a little bit about what exactly that entails?
Well, you know, and I don't, my SLED lab people aren't here that I can see, but you know, technology's evolving, and in our field, things change to where you can't. In the past, you may not been able to put two things together that you had as evidence, and there's other ways. I'm not a technical forensic person, but I do understand how they got to where we are. But I'll get you an answer to that question from someone that's technical. Yeah.
Have you interviewed them on this arrest? Are they admitting what they've done? What are they saying to detectives?
Nothing. We gave them an opportunity to talk to us, and they had ample time to talk to us in the car on the way from Cross Hill, South Carolina, about 3.5 hour drive. Nope, they hadn't talked to us.
So was that what you guys were doing during that ride? Were you continuously trying to question them?
Well, we read them their rights initially when they are arrested, and we give anybody a chance to talk to, especially on a long car ride. We're hoping that'll generate some talk, but they decided not to talk to us.
This is a huge deal in Berkeley County. This particular case has been something that people have heard about and talked about for many decades. How important has it been for you to try to get this solved?
Well, it's always been very important to me. I was, I lived here. I was working with another police agency when it happened. But I've always known it. I've felt it, and how many people it affected. You have to go back to 1989 and think about Berkeley County. We were a different place. We were smaller. Everybody kind of knew everybody, and families we all stuck together and had acquaintances and people that we knew, and it just went widespread all over, not just Berkeley but the state and the country, and everybody wanted some justice, and I think, if you look back at some of your old footage, you'll see that it affected a lot of people, and it stayed with me. And when I was elected, not soon after, Amy called me and said, "Hey, I want to come talk to you." And we sat down and we talked, and we put people on the case, and we finally got to where we needed to be. And again, those people that live in Berkeley County now that are not from here, that wasn't here in 1989 or even 1990, you have no idea the impact that this case had on the people, the deputies, the coroner's office, everybody, SLED agents, everybody that was involved in this case. It had a tremendous impact. I talked to one of the SLED agents yesterday. She couldn't be here. This was her first case, and it still affects her today. Think about it. That was her first case, and it tremendously impacted her.
You talked about the impacts on the SLED officers and your deputies. Are there any deputies still with you who was on the case? And if there are, what does it mean to them, or what have they said to you to finally be able to put these two people in jail?
Well, I've talked to everybody that's still around, and I'm so sorry that Justin's real mother is not here, because she suffered tremendously. And so have a lot of people. I mean, there's some deputies that were here that went to the scene. Everybody kind of felt it. It was a tragedy, and I'm just hoping that we can move forward and that we have done the very best that we can to our ability to solve this case and help this family, and really, 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 at the end of the day, give Justin some justice. Man, how about that? 34 years. That's a long time.
Sheriff, can you talk about the involvement of the Turners in the initial case? I understand that the father was the one to find the body. Can you talk a little bit more about how they were involved in those initial movements?
Yeah, initially they provided information that, he didn't get on that he got on the school bus and went to school, but never got off of the bus. That was not true. He never got on that bus. He never got on that bus because he was dead inside that house. So there's been a lot of different things and statements made when you look at the scene, you can assume by looking at it that it was somewhat a staged scene to make it look like something that it wasn't. And all that'll come out. We'll get to all that. But there's a lot of inconsistencies in the story, in the information, in what the deputies, detectives, the SLED agents, DNR agents were told when they first got there to try to piece the thing together.
So you believe he was killed inside the house and then taken to the camp?
We
at a
think
later
so.
time?
We think so, yes. You had your hand up, ma'am?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could lay out the timeline a little bit of when this case was kind of picked up and put down throughout the years and how now
Yeah.
is the time that it was solved.
So, I know Sheriff MC Cannon, his team worked very hard on it. Sheriff Isgett, also had, and I'm going through the sheriffs, as I knew them. I think at one point even Scotland Yard was involved in this case and had examined it. When Sheriff DeWitt came in, I think John worked on it some then while Sheriff DeWitt was here. And again, it's been renewed, and people we've always been doing the very best we could do based on the evidence and the technology and the forensics that we had. So it's just, thank the good Lord, we got to a place where we were able to get enough to make an arrest.
Can you clarify a little bit when the two suspects went from providing information to you to being the two suspects that your agency was kind of focusing on leading up to yesterday's arrests?
Yeah, so if you look at the overall, Pamela was arrested at one point and charged. Case was dismissed without prejudice, so would enable us to come back again if we had enough evidence. She changed her name. They moved to the upstate, and nobody that I'm aware of from any of the family has ever heard from them again. Isn't that strange? I never got one phone call from his daddy or his stepmother. What are y'all doing about my son's death? Not one. What does that tell you?
So Pamela was arrested twice, and Victor, this is the first time that he's been
Yeah.
arrested. And do they have an attorney at this time?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know which one was responsible for the actual killing and which one was accomplice?
Hand to one, a hand all. When you read the affidavit, you'll see. Yep. I don't want to get that specific right now. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned that technology was the reason you're able to solve this case. Are you able to talk at all about how that might help you solve other cold cases the department's investigating?
Yeah, good question. We're always looking at new ways of solving problems and cases. As I said, time marches on, things change, and things get better. This team really painstakingly looks at every unsolved murder that we have and apply what we've applied in this case to try to move those cases forward. And we've been successful. So I'm gonna let Amy just say your name and come up and say anything you want to say.
I'm Amy Parsons. I am Justin's cousin. Of course, I was only 8 at the time of the murder. I want to thank God first for getting us to this point, and Sheriff Lewis for listening to our cries. From here, all we want is justice, and I want to see our justice system do what it was intended to do and put these two people where they deserve to be, because they've walked for 34 years. They've had freedom for 34 years while our family has suffered, and they don't deserve another day from behind those bars. And I want to thank everybody that has put time in to get us to where we are here. And once again, Sheriff Lewis, I really, truly, we all appreciate what you have done for our family.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Congratulations, boss. You know, I always like
We finally did. Thank you so much for what you've done. Show them your drive. Thank you. Thank you. That's your daughter. This is my mom. I didn't sleep any last night. Like, and they're thinking, no, this is Josh. This is Carlton.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Not bad either.
Oh, you're fine. I'm just.
Wonder if he's gonna show up. I'll make it eventually. Time of it. I was at Goose Creek. I was like,
Nice to officially meet you. I was looking for you and I was like, I don't actually know what he looks like in person.
all right, bro.
No, I thank you for saying everything was really